Hello and welcome back to Viralstyle Academy. Again, I'm your host, Luke Stassi, walking you through our 101 courses here in the Academy and teaching you the basics of how to learn the business of selling t-shirts online. And in this video, we're specifically going to be looking at an intro to design. We're helping you to get the basics of these concepts before we try to move into advanced ideas, advanced techniques. Really just trying to walk you through some broad strokes, some big picture ideas so that you can begin to understand the how and the why before you start getting into the specific details. So when it comes to design, there's many different ways and options you have as to how and where you can create a design. The first one I want to mention is on Viralstyle itself. Viralstyle actually has a designer. If you go to viralstyle.com/design, once you're logged in, if you click the design tab, you're going to end up here in the designer. And actually in here you can add text and artwork, and Viralstyle has many different fonts and many graphics available to you. And in a future video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can actually use this designer to create a unique design right here within the designer without having to use a third-party software, graphic design software, or hire someone to do designs for you. Let's keep that in mind, but also as you get more advanced into these things, you're going to want to learn something like Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, or another graphic design software, because it's just going to give you additional options and opportunities to create unique graphic design. Then as your workload gets filled up, the big picture long term, like where I'm at right now, is I actually hire designers to create designs for me to get the time and the work off my plate. But I'll tell you that in my first year of doing this business, I did all of my own designs, and it's totally possible. I'm not a graphic designer. I knew somewhat about Photoshop and background in photography, but I didn't know how to create graphic designs. And I learned just enough to create designs on Viralstyle and to be able to put together something that looked good and ended up selling really well. And I would say my first $1 million in gross revenue was all done just me creating designs myself without ever hiring an outside source. So if I can do 7 figures in sales creating designs in Photoshop, you can too, if you learn all the skills that we're going to be teaching you here in Viralstyle Academy. So something to focus on in the crucial parts of the design. Again, we're looking at broad stroke concepts here in this particular teaching. The 3 elements that you got to think about are the fonts that you're using, the graphics that you're using, and the specific layout of the fonts and the graphics together. Something I really want to focus on, and to me this is the most important part of all of it, is that whatever design you're making has to be designed to sell on Facebook mobile. Because that's the methodology we're teaching here, is to eventually you're going to be running ads on Facebook, and about 85% of Facebook users are using Facebook on their phone. They're not using it on desktop. Some are using it on tablet, but overall you have to keep in mind that that is where Facebook is being used. That is what Facebook is designed for, is to be used as a mobile app. The difficulty I think a lot of people have, especially getting started, is they're creating a design on their computer. So it's easy to see, it's easy to read on the computer, and they're not really keeping in mind the fact that a phone is so much smaller than a computer screen, and that on a phone you have to create designs that have very large fonts, big, bold letters that are easy to read. There has to be a strong contrast in the colors between the colors you're using and the background shirt color that you're picking to stand out. So to show you an example of what I'm talking about, I want to bring up this campaign that Viralstyle is running right now for Rob Gronkowski. This is the Viralstyle website that I pulled from my laptop computer screen. I just took a screenshot of it and put it on here so you can see. This is the normal dimension, the normal view that somebody would see if they were looking at it on your computer. And also if you upload a design to Viralstyle on your computer, this is what you'd be seeing as well. But I want to compare this to you versus what they would be seeing if they were looking at Viralstyle mobile. Okay, so here's the two side by side. Literally, this is me taking an iPhone 6, a regular iPhone 6, and holding it up next to my laptop screen. So you can see the difference here, how extremely much smaller the phone screen is in comparison with the desktop screen. All right, now I need to mention another thing, is that they're not going to be looking at Viralstyle mobile until they've actually clicked the link to get to Viralstyle. What they're going to see before they see your Viralstyle page is they're going to be seeing your ad come in on Facebook. So let me bring this up in a third screen here. This is the actual ad running for the Rob Gronkowski shirt. I pulled it up here, took a screenshot off of Facebook mobile app. So you can see here the massive difference in size in comparison of the desktop viewing versus viewing Viralstyle mobile versus viewing the actual ad on Facebook mobile, okay? So I just want everyone to really get this concept, because you have to understand that what's going on here is they're not shopping for your t-shirt when you're running them a Facebook ad. They're just browsing Facebook, they're looking at their friends' posts, they're looking at their friends' pictures, and then all of a sudden you are shoving this ad in front of their face and screaming at them, hey, buy me right now. Even though they're not shopping, they don't plan to be buying something, they're not looking for something to buy. So you have this very brief window of maybe a second or less to grab their attention to whatever you're selling, okay? So you have to create a design keeping in mind the entire time that you are designing for them to view it on this teeny tiny little mobile screen in a teeny tiny little Facebook ad. So it has to be fonts and colors and graphics that are going to stand out, be very big and bold, so that when they are scrolling on mobile, they can very easily read what the design says and they can understand what it is. So a lot of people that I've known that are trying to get into t-shirts in the beginning, they're creating designs only thinking of the desktop experience, where it's actually pretty easy to read smaller fonts and see smaller graphics. But you just can't do that because it's such a small percentage of your sales is actually going to happen on desktop versus mobile. So I'm stressing this hard. Always keep your mobile design in mind. And you can even take a picture of it, send it to yourself or upload it, and then go into Viralstyle mobile and take a look at it. Just something to give yourself a concept of how it's actually going to look on a mobile device versus your desktop computer. Something we covered in some of the previous videos is being able to draw inspiration from something that already exists. So what I recommend doing when thinking of design is if you see a design out there that's selling, and let's say it's got hundreds or maybe thousands of sales, is use it as a template in its layout, because you can take that same layout, and obviously the layout they use is a piece of the puzzle as to why that design is selling. Designs that aren't selling, I wouldn't recommend you use them for a layout, so I'm going to give you some examples here, but when you're using them as an example, you can use similar fonts, the layout, the graphics. We're always encouraging you. You have to make your own original work. You cannot copy what they're doing, but you can use it as a template and create a new phrase or whatever. I've sometimes seen a design out there that the layout really made sense and it was being done over and over again. Other people were using it. So I took the same layout and I used it to create a brand new piece. But because the layout worked, the design sold. So I also want to bring up that if you need help with design and you would like to hire someone else to do a design for you, Viralstyle can actually connect you for a very inexpensive cost with good quality designers that you can shoot ideas over to, and they could actually pull together and create designs for you for not very expensive cost, and it would save you time and energy than having to go out there and find your own designers. So if you contact Viralstyle at support@viralstyle.com, you email them, they can give you all the information that you might need in order to look more into having them get a designer for you and taking that burden off your plate if you just feel like you don't want to learn it or you don't feel like it's a skill that you can pick up. So also in future videos, something that we're going to be covering is how you can personally go out there and outsource your design work. Hire a designer off of various platforms on the internet and they'll create designs for you. It's a great way to maximize your time. It's what I do now, but that's a more advanced strategy we'll cover down the road. I'm going to jump over here and show you some examples right now of designs that I found here off of Viralstyle's marketplace, just to give you some ideas of things you can consider when trying to come up with designs. So this is one that I came across in the marketplace that honestly to me, this is really, really well done. Simple example of a design. And if you scroll down, you can see they have 4,700 sales, which is unbelievable. They've made a ton of money selling this at $41.99. And you look how simple this is. Okay, so you've got one font at the top, Yes, I Really. Then you've got a second font, Do Need All, and then the third font, These Dogs, okay? And they've just done some real simple Photoshop manipulation to put this together. And they added the graphics of these little dog paws hanging off here and then some simple silhouettes of dogs that you can find in many different places on the internet. So I just want to bring this up. This is a great template. I just want to bring this up because this is a great template where you can use this to think, okay, if I could put one line, this font, one line, the secondary font, third line like this with a graphic in the middle, this is really easy to read. So let me show you an example of how you can look. If you hold down Control on your keyboard and then you scroll your mouse wheel out, you can actually scroll way out here and get an idea of what a design would look like if it were really small in comparison. You can still read all of this. You can read every single word. You can tell what the graphics are. So this is a great example of something that if you were looking at this on a small mobile device, this is a design that's easy to read, easy to understand, and this is a layout that I would recommend that you see if you can't do a layout that's similar. Here's another layout that I came across in the Viralstyle marketplace that I think that this is a pretty good example of a good layout where they're using different fonts. It's some idea of they're using the vertical font here and then one here. They're just mixing in a lot of different fonts that are all complementary to each other and create kind of a unique and interesting design. So this is something that is not complicated to do. It's just a matter of learning to manipulate fonts in Photoshop or another design program. And the cool thing that what they both have done on this, if you look at it, the do you need font here is actually just a white outline that the middle of it just shows the color underneath. So it actually looks like you have a blue font here, but all this is just showing the blue sweatshirt underneath. Same here with the sun one, is this is just showing the black underneath. So it's almost like you get another color in the design, but this design itself is only a one color design. All right, here's an example of a more complicated design that is specific to a certain kind of the gun, pro-gun, Second Amendment right type of niche. And you can see they've had over 3,000 sales here, a lot of sales. So they are utilizing only one color, but what they've done is they keep switching the fonts along the way so that it makes it to be an interesting design. And then they repeat, like daughter is the same as nightmares. And then seem like a happy place. Those are actually the same font, but the happy place one is bigger and they curved it a little bit. This is a unique font where it's actually using a banner. And sometimes you can actually find fonts that do this. Other times it has to be a graphic that's created. The printing on the back of the t-shirt like this with the big graphic in the middle with guns and skulls, it's very attractive. Here's another one from a similar kind of niche, is the female veterans. And this design is almost the exact same layout if you look compared to this one. It's arching, banner, and then the rest of the text is kind of laid out normal, and then you're interchanging different font types. You've got the big graphic in the middle. It's a very similar style because clearly they figured out this style is what people buy, because this one's got over 3,000 shirts sold as well. So, utilizing this kind of idea of the arching font, the banner, and then putting the big graphic in the middle is a great sample of how you can lay out a design yourself. Now here is a design that this is really simple, but honestly, I love simple designs. I can tell you that some of my most viral shirts that I've had and best-selling t-shirts that I've put out there have been really simple like this, with just a phrase that was really catchy and clever, and fonts that made sense, and just kind of bold colors. White on black is great because it stands out so well. And then there's just a couple of simple graphics in here. But again, if you scroll out and you look at this small, you can read every word that's in here. And it's just, I love designs that are easy to read when you're viewing them small compared to zoomed in like this. This is just one font for the universe. This is a different font here. And then obligation to make is the same font as the universe. It's just smaller. And then to you is also a really similar font. So all of this is really tying in together, and it's easy to read. It's not overly scripty. So I'm just using all of these as examples of something to look at. Keep in mind that you're looking for a simple design, something that's easy to read when it's small. And as we create more of these videos, we'll give you some more of the details of how to actually get in and start creating designs for yourself. So one of the resources I wanted to refer you to in getting fonts is if you're going to begin doing designs yourself, and we'll cover this in a lot more later, is website called dafont.com, where you can actually download all different types of fonts, and instructions are on the main page right here of how to install them on your computer. You can use them in many different design programs, something like Photoshop, and you can get into calligraphy fonts. You can get into ones that look like cursive writing. You can get ones that look Western. So there are literally so many different types of fonts. This is Arabic. Here's a cartoon style. So there are all these different types of fonts on this website that you can utilize to create your own unique designs. So also, if you're looking to get something like this vector here, is what they call it, the simple one color graphic, and these stars point to some places where you can pick those up. One of them here is called freepik.com. There's free vectors and icons and graphics. You can search on here, something like planet, and it's going to pull up all these different graphics of planets. You'd want to look for ones like this that are just a plain black and white vector. But another thing you can do is just come over here to Google, and if you search for planet vector, and you go to images, you're going to find a bunch of different graphics that are out there. Some of them obviously are coming from these websites where you're going to have to pay, and at times we'll subscribe to different websites where you can purchase vectors and purchase graphics. But there are also other free sites out there that you'll come across where you can just download these images for free. So always keep that in mind. Do a little research, some poking around on Google. Here's FreePic is when you Google this, it's coming up as the first one. Vecteezy is, again, another place for free vector art. Allfreedownload.com. I've used all of these to get free vectors of different graphics, that something simple that you could plug into a design like this, find stars like this, and really make it easy. These are obviously a lot more complex, and you would have to maybe pay for a graphic designer to create these for you. Same with these. The rest of them, these kind of dogs would be really easy to find. You're just searching for a dog silhouette. I can show you right here. And just like that, you're going to come across tons of them. And again, all free download, and Vecteezy are coming right up here at the top. You can go to those sites and download free vector graphics from them. Another one here is called the Noun Project. You're going to see all kinds of free images and graphics and vectors that you can download from this site as well. So as we get into design a little bit more here down the road, I'm going to teach you actually step by step and some of the details of how you can create some of these designs for yourself, how you can use Viralstyle's designer. I just want to reemphasize in looking at the big picture here. Think about the colors that you're using. Think about the background color and how that background color can show through in the design. You can do designs where you're putting it on the front of the shirt or on the back of the shirt. A lot of different options there. As we get into more detail here, I'll explain how in Viralstyle's designer itself, I'm going to walk you through and show you what the different pricing looks like, how adding additional colors is going to change cost, and you can add different products as well, and also the difference between screen printing on something in the larger orders when you have larger sales, or a direct-to-garment printing when you have less sales. So there's a lot to learn here in the process. We're going to walk you through it. But again, I just want to reiterate that some of the best campaigns out there are just simple. Very simple with just text, or text plus a couple of simple graphics and one or two colors. And this is something that if you take the time to learn some design skills, you can do for yourself. And honestly, some of these simple designs will go out there and sell thousands, even tens of thousands of shirts off of a very simple graphic. So that is an intro to design here. I hope you learned a little bit, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.